Hello and welcome to Blueprints Academy. I hope you all are doing very well, and I am back again with another video. But this is not a technical video, it's an announcement video for the series that I am planning to create. So let's get started. And before we start, let me just introduce myself so you know who I am and who is your instructor. So my name is Aditya. I have over 7 years of experience working in software engineering and data engineering combined. Currently, I am working for one of the leading marketing company in Europe, and I am based in Germany. I think that's enough about me. So, I mean, this video is not going to be technical. It's just an informative video about what you can expect from the series and what you should not expect from the series. So what we will cover. I'm trying to create this series in order to replicate the real life working of a data engineer. So imagine if you join a company where you are the very first data engineer and the company does not have anything set up for the data engineering yet, and you are given this opportunity to build everything from scratch. So how you gonna proceed? So it's gonna be a very much real world kind of an experience. We're gonna have a real world kind of a problem statement, and then we're gonna go step by step, as in how you gonna build the data platform, how you build the system, how you gonna test it, how you gonna monitor it, deploy it, and everything which you could expect in a real data engineering job. So I'll just cover these bullet points uh, quickly. So we're gonna have a problem statement, of course. So imagine you join a company and then they do not have any data engineering infrastructure in place, and then you are the very first data engineer, or maybe you are an architect, or maybe principal data engineer, whatever it is. And then let's say you are working with the stakeholders, or maybe directly with CTO or some other directors, to build this infra from very scratch. So how you gonna actually proceed the problem, right? So we're gonna have a problem statement. The problem statement gonna be very much in in simulation with how you would expect a problem statement to be when working in the real company. So we're gonna discuss the problem statement, of course, and then based on problem statement we're gonna brainstorm on multiple architectural solution, right? So because you can of course solve one problem with many solution. Now the thing is, which solution is best, and also along with being the best, it should be cost optimized, right? Because nowadays all companies, they're looking for cost optimized solutions, not just the solution. So we're going to have multiple architecture to solve a particular problem, especially the problem statement that we're going to discuss, and then we're going to compare that particular architecture. I mean, based on multiple parameters, let's say how much it's going to cost, is it scalable, is it maintainable, I mean, how hard it's going to be to build a particular solution, how long it's going to take. So based on multiple parameters, we're going to discuss multiple architecture, and then we're going to decide the best architecture for our use case. Now, once we have the architecture, it's time to build, right? So we're gonna then get into the actual development process, where we're gonna first set up our project locally, of course, and then we're gonna also set up a bare minimum infrastructure like AWS IAM roles, and then connection from your local machine to AWS, and then S3 bucket and bare minimum stuff, and then we're gonna do a local development environment setup. So this is very important. Actually, I have seen in many companies before that not many companies do have their local development environment setup. They usually develop things in pieces and then try to test directly on the environment on cloud. So I think that's not a good practice, and because you need to develop everything from scratch, it's good to have everything running on your local, right? It's a bit complex, and that's why some developers kind of try to avoid it. But for me, I believe it should be there. It's just one time thing that you set up, and then of course you can have a documentation, or you can have some kind of rules and principles that other developers can follow, and then replicate the development environment and do their stuff. It's just one time work, but it really helps. So we're going to set up a local development environment simulating same stuff that we would do on AWS. Then there comes the actual development, right? The actual product or actual glue, not the glue job, sorry, actual jobs, ETL jobs that we're gonna create to solve this particular problem statement, right? So we're gonna do the development comprising multiple components. Of course, we will see what we're gonna develop, like lambdas or glue jobs or spark jobs or simple Python jobs, whatever they gonna be. So I'm not gonna expose those things at the moment because that's the surprise, right? We're gonna decide the solution. So once we have the development environment set up, once we have the development done, once we tested that development piece on local, then it's time for the infra development, right? So usually what happens, many companies when they start data engineering, when they start data engineering, they do not have the infrastructure set up, and also many companies do not have DevOps engineers assigned to data engineering teams. I mean, this is my personal experience, and believe me, you're gonna feel this in many companies. I mean, usually what happens is like the data engineers are responsible for their own infrastructure. So we're gonna be dealing with a bit of an infrastructure as well in this series. So we're gonna be using Terraform. So uh, that's a sneak peek, or I would say that's a kind of a hint what we're gonna use. There are many ways you can build an infrastructure, right? You can use CloudFormation, you can use AWS CDK, you can use AWS SDK, you can use Boto and Python in general, and then Terraform. So there are many ways, but we're gonna be relying on Terraform for this series at least. Then once we have the once we have an infra setup, then we're gonna do the deployment. Once we have the deployment, we're gonna do the testing, of course. And with that, we're gonna end our series. But it's gonna be a long ride, so stay tuned. So this is what we're gonna cover. Next thing is what you will learn, right? This is the very important question, right? You must be wondering, okay, this is all like a nice stuff, but what I'm gonna learn? So of course you're gonna understand full data engineering life cycle, like from very start until very end, not very end, but until reaching at a particular position, and then understanding trade-offs of different solutions, of course. If and also this course gonna be useful for the people who are actually willing to go into the direction of becoming data architect, because we're going to discuss many trade-offs between different solutions, and this is very important piece when you are thinking about the architecture or a data architect in general, the position. And then we're going to build the data pipeline from scratch. Of course, that's the whole purpose of this series. And then we're going to have production ready solution, of course, data engineering technical stacks. So technical stack going to be comprising of Python as a programming language. We will also use a bit of a SQL. Then we will use AWS as a cloud vendor. Terraform, I already told you. We might also use couple of AWS services here and there, so that we're gonna see in the lectures coming up. Uh, I think that's all from my side. So this was just an announcement video for you to let you know. And if you wanna do the development with me and build the solution from scratch as a data engineer, data architect, junior data engineer, or maybe someone who is just willing to learn data engineering, it's a good time to subscribe to the channel and follow my later videos. So we're gonna start one after another. There's gonna be 5 or 6 videos in general, so I try to keep things bit small, so so people can kind of grasp everything from one video. So those gonna be like not like very long videos. They're gonna be mainly between 10 to 15 minutes, yeah, not more than 15 minutes. So yeah, and then we're gonna do hands-on. We're gonna start everything from fresh, from scratch, and then we will hopefully deploy everything into the production without bugs. So until then, have a good day and keep watching the Blueprints Academy videos. And yep, see you then. Bye bye.